I'm on the ADL's list, and I'm going, okay, it's because I'm telling the truth, and the CIA and the Mossad, they're the same organization.
An operation to kill a suspected imam went off, 64 women and girls at the girls' school, and it turns out it was the wrong imam.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I recently came across an interview Candace Owens did with a former CIA official who revealed the underhanded tactics that are used by that US government organization under the orders of Israel. We're not only talking about invasions of Muslim countries based on misinformation, but also the deliberate as well as negligent assassination of Muslim men, women, and children for decades upon decades. Let's take a look.
I'm on the ADL's list, and I'm going, okay, it's because I'm telling the truth.
500,000 Iraqi civilians were killed because of false intelligence from the CIA.
Remarkable intelligence failure.
Yeah.
It's incredible the lengths they will go through to get the public on the side of war. I always go back to my propaganda as a child in school, 9/11. And now I think back at it, I'm going, oh my gosh, just the words they use, and they don't want to think about anything but the emotion of it, right? Like, and so we get in line and we go, okay, yeah, and because all they're doing is showing us these images and talking about terrorism. And I was in the classroom and they're telling us, in order to be safe, to keep you safe, and then we have to go to war, and we can't just quickly say war in Iraq is okay. Don't even ask questions, even though there were Saudis in the plane.
A criminal investigation was never done on 9/11. They automatically blamed it on terrorism. They didn't examine any of the evidence. When they do their propaganda, it seems so stupid on its face, but they repeat it so many times. For example, well, we can prove that it was such and such hijacker that flew the plane in the building because we found his passport laying on E Street.
So stupid.
What? Let's see. The plane was incinerated. There was absolutely nothing left of the
recover bodies.
The building was powder. But amazingly, they found this passport that proved their narrative.
Do you realize how much we were lied to about 9/11? Like, it's just unbelievable. And then the things that they ignored that happened that day, and the presence of the Mossad that was there, the art students that were there, that were also intelligence
Israeli
agents.
Art students. 9/11 was not the act of a bunch of poorly flight-trained terrorists that executed an unbelievably meticulous piloting of those aircraft. Tower 7, which was a controlled demolition.
Obviously.
You talk to any structural engineer, and I have. Well, that was a controlled demolition. The Pentagon, there were no engines. There were none of the landing gear, nothing.
And yet there were servicemen around that said, I've served in active military, it was a missile. There's no plane.
Yeah.
And you just see this perfect hole. They classify images of the plane,
video.
What hit the Pentagon that day.
There needs to be a criminal investigation despite the destruction of evidence of 9/11. And the fact, I think George W. Bush blacked out, I think it was 40 pages of the 9/11 report dealing with Saudi Arabia. And the report came out and he refused to unredact them.
How else were you going to get Americans to be on the side of this war that had nothing to do with us,
Exactly. And that MO is repeated on and on and on and on and up through Iraq. They were going on Fox News, and all these generals that were recruited in this propaganda effort going on pushing the Iraq war.
It is the exact same thing every time. Remarkable intelligence failure. Now we're being drafted in because we have a right to defend ourselves. And we must get involved now with this war that has nothing to do with us. And now we're in the Middle East, which is nowhere near us. It just follows that same MO every single time. Horrific event, and then yelling at everybody, don't even ask any questions of what we do next. If you do, you're a terrorist sympathizer. All you care about is defending the terrorists in the Middle East. You don't care about your safety. Again, that emotional conditioning to make us not even think about actually the probability that it's just an evil government that is willing to kill people to further its imperialistic aims, whatever that may be, whether it's they want oil, whether they want more land.
Candace claimed she's on the ADL's watch list now. The ADL is a pro-Israel organization that has offices in America and Israel. They're supposed to be an anti-Semitism watch organization that costs around $80 million a year to run, which is also paid for by US taxpayers. Candace is not an anti-Semite. She's simply anti-war, anti-Israel, and pro-American. I guess criticizing a nation engaged in waging genocide on innocent people counts as anti-Semitism in the ADL's books. The former CIA officer Kevin Shipp spoke about how 500,000 Iraqi civilians were killed because of the CIA. He's referring to the weapons of mass destruction lie that was told to the world to justify the US invading Iraq to overthrow Saddam Hussein for Israel at the request of Benjamin Netanyahu.
If you take out Saddam's regime, I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region. Apply military force against them.
We've done, I think, what you proposed in Afghanistan, yet I haven't seen that sort of neighborhood effect.
All the Arab countries and many Muslim countries trying to side with America, trying to be okay with America. The first victory in Afghanistan makes the second victory in Iraq that much easier. The second victory in Iraq will make the third victory that much easier too.
Candace's response, as you saw, was that this is a repetitive propaganda cycle where government intelligence agencies stage a major false flag event and then use the date of that event as propaganda to get the public on side by appealing to people's emotional nature, to justify a war for the purpose of monetary gain or the expansion of land. And anybody who dares to question this or stand up for the innocent people on the receiving end of this trickery and aggression, they are shamed by being associated with extremism. Sound familiar? Candace and Kevin are saying this is what happened with 9/11. Other people have implied the same thing about 7th of October 2023. I am simply echoing opinions here. You guys can make up your own minds. But I do find it suspicious that the same government intelligence agencies seem to be involved in both these incidents, alongside the same propaganda strategy which is being employed to justify the disproportionate response to both these dates. Like they both said, in hindsight a lot of things don't add up and vital information is blatantly classified, which just skyrockets people's suspicions further. Kevin stated that a criminal investigation was not done for 9/11, which is surprising considering it was such a major crime that sadly resulted in 3,000 Americans losing their lives. Candace also made the point that Mossad, the Israeli version of the CIA, and other Israeli agents were also present at the time, which Kevin confirmed and implied that it was an inside job. The culprit of 9/11 was said to be Saudi Arabian, yet Iraq and Afghanistan were invaded and destroyed. And the culprit of October 7th was said to be Hamas, yet Palestinian civilians are being eliminated. The same is happening in Lebanon, and Iran is now also being targeted. Think about it. 3,000 people tragically died on 9/11, and around 1 million people died in Iraq and Afghanistan in response, and 1,000 people sadly passed away on October 7th, and the response so far has been over 50,000 people losing their lives in Palestine and Lebanon, with that number growing every day. Let's watch the next clip.
Someone trying to shoot President Donald Trump, and then afterwards, what they already had ready to go, they said, Iran did this. So this random kid was really hooked up with the Iran regime.
CIA propaganda.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking, does anybody believe this nonsense that Iran had anything to do with this? Like, this is the state trying to take out Donald Trump. And I'm going, please, Trump, do not accept that. That also brings us into the Jeffrey Epstein thing. The most compelling part of the Jeffrey Epstein thing is how they just sort of released him and allowed him to live in his house at first. And when questioned about this, what's his name? Acosta said, I was told as a judge,
he was intelligent.
That he was intelligence, and that is the reason I could not prosecute him.
Right.
So there was somebody above me who said I could not prosecute this asset.
That's right.
What do you think about Jeffrey Epstein?
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation.
Tends to be the party guy, just like Diddy.
Drugs.
Cameras, drugs.
And that's what they're using Epstein for, was blackmail operations. And they got some pretty high-level people. They haven't released the entire list of close Epstein confidants. Israel's former prime minister was one of them. That is the intelligence part of Mossad.
I ask this question now, the more I learn, there just always seems to be this connection between the CIA and the Mossad. And I'm going, is it just...
No,
they're the same organization. I think the more you look back into history, and it's always somehow the CIA and the Mossad is there on the day that JFK gets shot. We learn about like MLK. We learn about 9/11, and everyone's going, okay, why does it seem like there's a union here, a marriage here?
Mossad is like the sister of the CIA. They're joined at the hip, kind of like Siamese twins, and they use each other for intel and operations and things like that. They're extremely close.
Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, a ton of Mossad agents, and I think a former prime minister of Israel attended his funeral.
And he was coming under scrutiny for arms dealing and connections with the CIA and being a Mossad agent. I was an agent on William Casey's detail. None of us knew that Casey had done an operation to a suspected imam by planting a car bomb outside the mosque and setting it on a timer. Well, the imam that they claimed was a terrorist came out near the car bomb, but one of his patrons asked him a question. So the imam turned around to go back, but the timer was already set. Bomb went off. 64 women and girls at the girls' school, and it turns out it was the wrong imam.
Candace claims the US government was behind the assassination attempt on Donald Trump earlier this year, which she claims they blamed Iran for, which wouldn't surprise me. But Trump has always been a loyal servant of Israel, so with him already in their pocket, I'm not sure why they would feel the need to take him out. But I do agree with her that it doesn't seem like Iran was involved at all. Candace and Kevin also made the claim that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell also worked with the Israeli government and had dirt on high-ranking government officials to exercise control over them. Kevin even said Israel's former Prime Minister was also on Epstein's list, which is yet another government classified hidden document. You would think if they had nothing to hide, they would release the document for the public to see. Look, if it was just Candace making these claims, people could turn around and say it's all just conspiracy theories, but it's a former US government official saying it. Candace also made the accurate observation that the CIA and Mossad are intertwined, which Kevin, a former CIA agent, confirmed to be true. I was truly saddened to hear Kevin talk about how the CIA's failed assassination of an imam at a mosque resulted in the death of 64 Muslim women and girls who were simply attending a place of worship to learn about their religion. It's just a disgusting injustice. There was no outrage, no press coverage, no condemnation, nothing. It was just covered up by the CIA, and we only know about this now because Kevin revealed this to Candace. Think about all the cover-ups throughout history and all the invasions of Muslim countries before social media. There are more than likely so many brothers and sisters and children we will never know about. This is just further confirmation that Israel really does control America on a government level, and there seems to be no depth they won't sink to in order to achieve their wicked and immoral aims. These people do not value Muslim life. They've been killing our people for many decades now. They don't even value the lives of their own citizens. If it's not false flag events targeting their own citizens, they're sending soldiers out to die in wars they start which are based on lies and deception. And honestly, the situation in the Middle East doesn't look like it's going to get any better until Israel's objective of expansion of land is achieved. But we must continue to make noise and find further ways to expose these evil people whilst at the same time trying to keep ourselves as safe as possible. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, where we as Muslims can speak freely and without censorship about issues like this. And remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.